So I'd like to introduce some of the specific forms that are available to download from the website. The first one, we just talk about the stress measures, and really just a very simple way to ask somebody to fill in each week the amount of distress, stress and positive feelings they're having in whatever environment, whether that's a school, whether that's work, whether that's generally in their whole life. And then you can chart that from week to week and have an ongoing discussion, and in that safe feedback, that collaborative discussion, you'll figure out ways to help things move in a good direction. And it's quite simple to use, and again, it can be a dynamic instrument because it might be something you want to fill out with somebody and discuss with them. For example, if somebody's in recovery from mental health concerns or addiction, you might fill that out each week with them and just make sure they're moving in a positive direction and feel better. It might be if you're working with some students, you might identify certain students who are not really performing that well, or there's some concerns. You might try and create this safe conversation with them and say, well, in school, how do you feel about school? Is it distressing? Is it stressful? And I certainly think, boredom and alienation are quite stressful experiences, so it might be nice to share that with them if they're experiencing those, to say they should count that as stress. And positive feelings, and say, well, let's work towards creating an environment where you have positive feelings. You might work with that student for a while, and then they're in a good place, and then you say, it was great, we worked with each other for 4 weeks or 5 weeks or 10 weeks, and then you might pick the next student. So instead of having to use this format every student, you just pick maybe the ones that are struggling the most and focus on them. That's just an example of using it. Another example would be to give it to people in the workplace and invite them just on their own personal journey of professional development, just to keep track of it themselves, and just so over time they can take responsibility for moving in a positive direction. Just different examples of how you might kind of integrate that into the work you're doing together.